All right, well, I'm just gearing up to go to the Haltech World Cup Finals up in Maryland, and I wanted to give a quick kind of overview, rundown on what it is, what makes it so special, why it's probably the coolest racing event of the year, and why I absolutely love watching and going to it every year. So, if you don't know, it's October 30th through November 3rd. It is in Maryland at MIR, one of the best facilities in the country. It is unbelievably ran, and there is so much positives to this event. So it's the end of the year, so people really have their junk turned up. They really got it to the limit because they know, down season's coming. It doesn't really matter if you huck a rod, ideally not, but people are sending it. You get that cool air. It is crisp. I think we're gonna see like a high of 70 degrees for eliminations, and maybe like a low of like 41 at night. So it's gonna be pretty chilly. It is not easy to get in. You have to qualify. It is very difficult to meet the criteria, so not everybody gets in. Not everybody can make it. It's a quarter-mile class, so think about that. All of the classes are quarter mile. A lot of these guys spend all year running eighth mile. They throw a different gear in the back, and then they run it out the back door. And that is something to watch. It really is. A lot of these eighth mile cars that run PDRA, NHRA, some kind of super stock, whatever it may be, all year, and then all of a sudden, here they are, going to the quarter mile. Just unbelievable. It's insane to watch these guys take these eighth mile cars out the back. And then, when you're going that fast, you start to lose stuff. I've seen people lose doors. I've seen people lose like hoods that they're not used to losing because they're not used to that mile an hour. The minimum ET stuff is really cool too because it keeps the classes fast. There's like, you actually have to send in a video to prove that you've done it. You can't just say like, oh, I've done it, buy the ticket, call it a day. No, you have to prove that you've done it so that they know that it's not just kind of a bunch of non-racers, people that have like just put a car together. They want cars that are actually competitive. They want these classes to be very legit and real and actually racing, not just some cars that have never seen the daylight and then here they are. So that makes it really fun. I think they'll even get more strict over time with that. Like, you not just show yourself on a Hail Mary pass, but actually show like a ladder that you've made it more than one round, because sometimes that's tough. The trophies are these gigantic 50-pound billet looking cups that really, are really something to strive for. And then they're filled with either like $20,000 or $30,000, depending on what class you're in. So there's like a prestige that comes with it that makes every driver a little bit more, just a little bit more motivated. And then there's this other motivating factor that I really love, and that's these stands that are just filled from end to end. People are elbow to elbow, standing room only. There's so much people everywhere in this whole facility, you can't even walk. Hardly get a car by, hardly get your car back to your pits. But at the same time, as a racer, that's what people want. People want to be in front of a sellout crowd. They want to race in front of spectators. They don't want to race with 5 people in the stands. They want this sellout crowd. And MIR and the team at World Cup have done such a awesome job in the last 28 years of turning this into a destination and a must-be at event that it's really hard to compare anything to it. So it's truly like a beautiful sight if you're a drag racing fan. This is a long event too, so it's not for the faint of heart. People don't start parking there until Monday. Like, they pull in Monday, and then they don't leave until like Sunday night, if all things go well. So you're there for a long time, almost a full week on property. So you're camping. You are camping, or you are driving in and out every day. It's grueling. It's not for the faint of heart. And then the classes. The classes are a huge draw for a lot of people because they're meant to keep it competitive. They don't want combos or allow combos in there that are just going to run away with it. Sometimes it happens, a combo will sneak in that they didn't see coming and it'll run away with the whole deal. But they really try for parity across the board, whether that's a small tire car, whether that's a front wheel drive car, all wheel drive, turbo, nitrous, whatever it be in the same class. They try for a really, really close racing, close parity event. So they do a really good job at that. It brings everybody's full potential out, and that's where some people probably don't like it, because they may have a car that's over turboed or too light or something like that that doesn't allow them in the class, but that just shows that your combo potential is higher than you're running it for. So it's a bit of a heartbreaker there. But everything is on the table. It could be a turbo size thing, it could be a fuel thing, it could be a weight thing, it could be an engine size, it could be tire type, it could be all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, whatever configuration. Everything's on the table for rules. They check it all. Fuel types, you name it. It gets there down to measuring your turbos and everything. You got to pull up to tech, take your turbos off so they can measure it. That's how serious they are. So if it's hard to get your turbos off, better start working. Some people, I know it takes quite a few hours to get the turbo, apart. So it makes it a little tough. And then the import domestic side. That's where, this term import versus domestic, it's part of the name. It's a very interesting thing, and people don't always fully grasp where that comes from. So historically, it's imports versus domestic, obviously, but you can't have crossover stuff for almost every class. The chassis cars can have crossover because it doesn't really matter. The stick shift guys, they've allowed it this year because some of the stick guys kind of cross over. But for the most part, you either have an import car with an import engine, or you have a domestic car with a domestic engine. You can have a 240 with a 2JZ, Nissan with a 2J. You can have a Mustang with an LS. It's fine, as long as they don't cross over. And the second part is it comes into play on round one. So round one, they set up the classes not in a traditional ladder, but they try to match people up with, they use the traditional ladder a little bit, but they try to match an import up with a domestic. So round one, they try to make it an import versus domestic deal, and then after round two, maybe, but that's kind of the luck of the draw at that point. All bets are off. So that's kind of an interesting deal. It's fun to see that. It's fun to see that matchup, but it makes for some different kind of racing, because you don't know who you're going to race. Normally, number 1 qualifier races number 16 qualifier, but not always the case. You could race number 14 qualifier. Whoever they match you up with. It's probably similar, but... And then it's why there's cars from all over the country and all over the world. If you look at some of the racers, there's people from Australia, there's people from the Dominican Republic, there's a ton of people from Puerto Rico. I know it's not technically another country, but it kind of is, it kind of isn't. I don't know. I know it's a commonwealth of the U.S., whatever. But there's people from all over the world shipping cars in for this one event. So it is truly the World Cup. And they're trying to get more people from all over the world. So 310 cars and 10 bikes descend onto Maryland in the last weekend of October every year for this one special deal. First weekend in November, last weekend in October, something like that. 11 classes. Some of the fastest one will probably be like a mid 5-second class, maybe dip into the low fives. The classes below that, they kind of just get progressively slower. 28 years, and this event is just, honestly, has gotten insanely good. So the last 4 or 5 years of racing, since I've been truly paying attention and deep into it, I would say it has gotten so much better. So shout out to Jason Miller and the whole team at MIR, because they do such a good job with this deal, and I would love to see more events try to incorporate some of what they do. It's truly a masterpiece. So love the rules, love the event. I will be there today, so can't wait. Jason Miller, shout out to you. Subscribe for more. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you next time.